So for me, the sense of community came with raving, especially because as a queer kid, it gave me a safe place to grow up and relate to other people like me that also like the same music. So the sense of community, I embraced it and discovered it with going to clubs. So clubbing for me has a really high sense of community. It is a community which I'm part of since 30 years now.
No, I agree. I think community played a huge part, especially when you're creating record labels and scenes with music. Also growing up as a skater, punk, also going to raves, helps you kind of figure out who you want to be, the identity you gravitate towards. And I think you keep hold of that philosophy of community up until being DJ and an artist, a musician.
Yeah, I think also like growing up, you find like your peers in a way. Like I grew up in like a small town around Cologne, so you had to find your people. They were not like just presented in front of you. They don't belong to your little city and stuff. So yeah, like finding also like different angles than you were taught or something that you were socialized with and stuff. This was really nice for me to learn, like also in this punk and hardcore scene and stuff. So this is where it started, and now I'm more like in this art community, of course, but try to make it as public and political also as possible. Yeah. To the flame, water to the rain, spirit to the flame, water to the rain.
You could be my calendar. Well, I mean, for sure the love of music at first, because being part of the clubbing community, that was, but also acceptance. I felt that it was more open than other communities I was part of, especially being born and raised in Monaco, when it's its own community, like alternative parallel universe. So yeah, I think what I got the most is mind openness, I would say. It's like another language. They had their codes, and I learned their codes, but they were not making me really happy, so I had to find people that I could speak the same language with. It's a little bit like a communication path, you know? You find people that you can talk with, and they listen to you, you listen to them.
My youth was a bit strange because I grew up in New York City and I was in public school at first, so that's very cliquey. You've got, maybe 40 kids in one class. So everyone goes, the punks go to the punks, you got people into hip hop, you have people who are theater majors, you got all these different groups that are very cliquey and kind of judgmental. And then when I was about 15, I got thrown into a private school to kind of clean my act up and take education seriously. And then that was more of an artistic kind of crowd. And you kind of gravitated towards the people that you had like-minded, musical taste and artistic taste. So I think you ended up finding the right community just by nature, you're forced into it in a way.
Yeah, also if you kind of discover like the advantages of it, like empower yourself, being like enabled to act and see what you're capable of when you're not working on your own is something you can't unsee afterwards also.
Yes, this of course, yeah, totally. Actually, great friendships. Also with people from Cologne, obviously.
it was really weird. I mean, a lot of the people from my high school, we all ended up going to the same university. And a lot of them now have even moved from New York City to Berlin. So yeah, some of these friendships are over 20 years old. And we even share musical paths together. And
in general, not so much, like not with the people, but also like this scene that I was coming from. I don't know if you meet them 5 years later and then you realize there was not much process and all these things. So I kind of actively withdrew myself a bit from it till I found my new communities.
I think this also came because we have really young artists. And if you take the example of Kendal, for example, he released a really big EP on a label called Moustache from Rotterdam, David Wank's label. And then he did the EP with us, which was complete success. And then his career took off. And then the pandemic happened and completely cut him while he was taking off. And so the idea of getting closer and more like a block came from this, because I also had the feeling that they needed this. They needed to feel secure and safe. So I tried to provide that. And also I needed this because it was a moment in my life where I needed maybe less interactions and bit more being careful who I interact with. It was the same thing with Luca. We had the album ready and we were about to release it and we had to push it. So we just stopped everything and got together, and now it's like this, that we decide who we sign together, we tour together. The label is more, it's not my label anymore. I open the label, they make decisions with me, and we move as a block. And I thought that this, after the year we had, was something that was important for all of us to have this feeling of family somehow. Because of the pandemic, everybody is also craving this get-together. And for Dischi, after the show we did in Paris, the response was amazing, because people are really craving for being together. And as we were moving as a family, like it really touched a lot of promoters, and we had a very good response, yes. But that was not what we aimed at. I think we did it because on an emotional and love level, we just needed to meet and to be together and to work together, because there was nothing going on, and I think we were all a bit scared as well. And like this, it was easier. It's easier together.
Yeah, no, it feels very special because it becomes kind of a group effort in terms of even the signing process of who you're going to release, like Jennifer mentioned. And, you know, we have a nice little group chat where all the artists are involved, and we all kind of share demo ideas and pitch things back and forth and give feedback.
And Luca is doing the artwork.
Yeah, and true. And then it really stays in-house, because then we're also dealing with the artwork too. I think it creates a more dynamic environment, definitely. We actually ended in around 2014, 2015, which was coincidentally in the same year that I moved to Berlin. But all of us are still very close friends, and all of us in the crew started to begin to do our own things. You know, I started to go in a different direction, and Vivian, who launched Trouble and Bass with me, the same. And we still remained very close friends. We're still very close. I think all of us had a time, after 10 years of running a party in New York City, it was time for us all to do something new before we ran it dry and killed it. And I think that's what's important is, you know, when something is still really thriving and doing well, sometimes it's better to just let it remain that way in history and then start something new instead of just beating it until it's overdone.
Are the others still on solo paths, or are they also regrouping with other people?
They all also have their own record labels. Like AC Slater has Night Bass, which is doing very successful in America. And Vivian, she's doing a lot of other record labels, and you know, she's got her own podcast, Rave to the Grave, which is doing very well.
For me personally, the best things happen like dynamically and organically. So, and like, I like to think that I didn't choose in general to act like this. We found each other, like I found Gold und Beton and it found me in a way, and it was the same with Baustelle, where Baumusik comes from. And I don't know, it's of course you feel you are like much stronger if you join the forces, if you're not doing everything on your own. I mean, it's also hard because in a way, like, it's two different projects. Gold und Beton is more like from my own creation and then needs the support, and Baumusik is like based like from Baustelle, which of course was a collective, and Baumusik is also really as a collective, you can see it. So it's two different things, but they both of course work like it's teamwork, of course. I don't know. I don't think that I would assume that I can just do it on my own and then accept the world to go for it. And yeah, I don't know.
I think if I had done this 25 years ago, it would have been a big mess. And I think that now it's quite easy because there is a lot of space for discussion. We also have clear rules, like...
Yeah, I do the artwork also with my wife. And
so you fight with your wife?
I don't fight with her, but she's got a strong determination with the vision on the last final kind of say of the artwork, and comes to what I think smart conclusion of, if the musician doesn't like the artwork, we're not going to tear it apart and change this to red and that to blue and move this here. We're just going to make something brand new. So if you don't like that artwork, fine, we're going to do the next one.
Well, there are discussions, of course. In the end, we kind of come into like a consensual opinion and decision on it. I would say, like, in our collective, it's like, I mean, you communicate not like with 5 people, how you said, like it's a newer model, and it's all about like cuddling together in a way, like in these extreme weird times. And we are like 20 people in this Telegram group or something, or in a Zoom at the moment and stuff. So this is it's complicated. It's not easy in a way, but we don't have. Yeah, of course we have rules like understanding, like not being sexist, not being racist, and whatsoever, of course. But they are like not no rules in style in a way. Yeah, some genres maybe, but in general we have like all styles. Also, it's more about like the feeling that you get from.
And you can always vote.
Yeah. In the end, like, if it's discussion, then majority has
you
to
just
decide,
vote.
yeah.
And
But that would be my question. Like, do you vote in the end, or is it like well, everybody?
I mean, this is in our case, it's more like, for example, if there's an artist that someone of us wants to work with, and they want to publish, then and no one, like, if you don't veto it, then it's okay, totally fine if some of us is taking care of it and put it into the whole collective and all these things. So you have like little, like partnerships, Patenschaften or something, you know. So it's okay. Like, it's not that we have to love every track that we ever recorded or published, you know. So it's a total mixture and personal taste also.
I mean, it's cheesy to say, but I think because of the power of the internet, I'm able to be in close contact with all the musicians that I relate to, right? And so I consider them friends, even if I hadn't met them in person, because we're constantly chatting. And
also because you're Italian.
Yeah, also it's in my nature.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, in that compilation, to be specific, all the new artists I've met multiple times and consider them all friends. And I wouldn't have included them on the compilation if I didn't have that camaraderie and same musical similarities.
I mean, all the releases of the labels are connected. It's very, how do you say? It has a very specific sound, yes. But there are things that fits for Dischi and things that fits better on Correspondant. That was also one of the idea behind having a second label. But to have a vision is important. And I think the idea of the collective also came because with Pablo and Francesco and Kendal and Luca and also Borussiado, for example, we share a same vision of new beat, EBM, like the modern version of it, and that was why we got together. I grew up a lot in the last years working with other artists. I think it has been the most interesting, besides traveling and DJing, it's the most full experience I've had in my life, definitely.
Well, the styles are totally different. I mean, you heard the last 20 minutes of my set. This was all Baumusik releases. So it goes from electronic to experimental to jazz to Russian pop and whatever. So it's more like, it's important for us that they are all styles and or mainly all styles, but it's more like the feeling you transport, and we have like some features, like it can be more artistic and it can be more experimental, of course, and like all styles. If it's pop, then it's like just a bit aside and a bit off from the rest, like a bit eerie and stuff. So all the styles you can take, but just like put it in a niche, and then maybe you have like some ideas of all of our brains that we want to like, make as a big idea, yeah.
No, I think it's very important. I mean, going back to you saying a lot of us have that upbringing or roots in that sort of DIY and maybe politically active background, and that kind of translates in the way we approach the things we do when we're older, right? Like the way you even present events like this, and then mix it with the music and have a discussion and take a different perspective and angle to an event. And I think that's interesting. I think carrying that with you is important.
I don't connect so much to other decisions that are made in the world. Like, it's just, I have the feeling that the values and the people I can relate to, it's a very small circle, and this participate to something bigger, but yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't sign a French artist that voted for Sarkozy, that's for sure, for example, but no, but I mean, weirdly, I don't attract people, like, I think we recognize each other somehow. I don't attract, we are the right-wing people in the label, or like, yeah. Luckily, we attract nice people.
I mean, in the end, like, in my opinion, good community has this responsibility. It's the only possible way how I can even think of a brighter future than now, is like having solidarity and stand with each other and find like even the lowest common senses, and I don't know, the unification of us all. I think this is crucial for our further developments in the society. So it should be it's kind of everything that I do or that people around us do. Yeah,
that's also something that was really important when I was in Paris with Kill the DJ, for example. Like, we did so many demonstrations. It was very important for us to walk against racism, homophobia, transphobia, of course. And of course, we would not interact with people that have such idea.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, already, especially from the punk background, this was very rooted in being politically active and believing in unity and against sexism and racism. So I think that naturally translated into the rave scene in America immediately. Yeah, it's definitely.